Okay, here's our topic, limiting reactant. Here's some important stuff for you in case you need it or want to use it. Here's our objective, and what it means is of giving two chemicals, A and B, I'm going to do some math and then predict which one of them is the limiting reactant and why, not or why, and why. You might, for any of, in this scenario, there's two reactants. You could have more than two. Now, what a limiting reactant, excuse me, what a limiting reactant is, whichever chemical gets consumed first. So as the reaction is progressing, which one is gone before the other ones, or whichever one determines the maximum amount of product you could make. One is a process-oriented definition, and one is more of a theoretical or stoichiometric definition. They're both good to know and both good to have. Now let's look at just a breakfast example. You've got these three ingredients, and you want to know what's your limiting reactant. Well, the first thing to do this problem, you'd have to know what's your recipe. All right, this much yogurt, this much granola, and this much protein powder. Now, in a sense, you don't need to know what you're actually making because you could just leave that undefined. You really need to know how much these things get consumed in the process of doing this. And essentially what you're trying to figure out is which one you're going to run out of first. It's all going to be in the recipe. And in this one, since it's kind of heavy on the yogurt, it's probably going to run out first. In general, the more you consume the reactant, and the less you have of it, the more likely it's going to be the one that goes. Now, let's look at some examples. Oh, before we do that, let's just go over the steps, and I'll follow the steps with each of the examples. You're always going to want to start with your balanced equation, all right? The next thing is you want to convert your amounts to the same product. You could start with grams, you could start with moles. And then the final thing is you want to see which one is making less of your product, and that's going to be your limiting reactant. All right. Here is a visual for what you're going to be doing, or like in a web map. You're going to have two amounts of these, of two of your reactants, and then you're going to use stoichiometry to calculate a theoretical yield based upon either of them. You're going to do it twice, once for each reactant, and then you're going to get an answer. All right, so here I had copper and zinc copper and zinc making bronze, so to speak. That's kind of hopefully showing you which one's going to run out of first. It's going to be the top one. All right, and therefore A is going to be your limiting reactant. This isn't really zinc; it's actually aluminum. But this is just just a visual of what we're doing. All right, let's look at a chemical reaction here. So here's our reaction chamber. I've got these three chemicals. The first thing we need is our balanced equation. If you notice, this one isn't balanced. So I'd have to balance it if it weren't balanced. I got two B's on the left, so I need to get two B's on the products. I change that coefficient to a 2, and then I need to change the coefficient for the 2 on the left, on the reaction side, for the A molecule. Then I'd convert them. So 3 mole B, well, since I'm going this is moles to moles, I'd use the molar ratio. There's 2 B's, so that's what I'm converting to, and there's 1 B, B2, so 2 AB, and 1 mole B2. Then I do the math, and I end up at 6 moles of the product. And the next thing, I would do the same thing with the quantity of A. There's 2 moles of A, all right, and there's 2 moles of AB, so then I do the math, and that ends up with 5 moles of AB. So here, My limiting reactant is the 5 moles of A. Now, this is a more typical problem where we may see because it's an actual reaction. All right, here's my balanced equation. So now I'm going to need to convert them both to the same product. Let's start with the hydrogen. Okay, I'm going to divide by the molar mass, then convert to my product using the molar ratio, then convert back to grams, and do the math. And you can see I've got a lot of 2's on the top and the bottom, 2 in each. So it's going to be about the 18 grams of product. Now I do the same thing with the other reactant. All right. Now 32 divided by 32 is 1, times 2 is 2, times 18 is 64. No, I went back and edited. It's 36.02, 0.04. So what's my limiting reactant? It's going to be the 2 grams of hydrogen because they produce less of the product, theoretically. Now, let's do it with a different reaction. This is the combustion of methane. All right, here's my balanced equation. So I'm going to convert that methane to one of the products. Convert to moles. Now, you've got 2 products here. You could do either. It would be the same idea. And I end up with 202 grams of oxygen, sorry, of water. And then I do the same thing with the oxygen amount. All right, divide by the molar mass, that's the 32.02 grams. Then I'd use the molar ratio, and the molar ratio here is 2 grams of oxygen. If you look at the equation there, to 2 gram there. So there, that's how these next 2 numbers are going to come up with. And then I go back to multiply by the molar mass of the water, and I end with 70 grams. So what's my limiting reactant? It would be the oxygen in this case. You might think it would be the methane because I have less of it, but I have more moles of methane because methane has a much smaller molar mass, and for every 1 mole of methane that's consumed, 2 moles of oxygen get consumed. So oxygen gets consumed at a higher rate, and I don't have as much moles at the start. And there's my source. Thank you very much. Actually, I didn't look at that. That's just from an old video.